right, come on, Kuf Gimel Amud Aleph 103a. I apologize to the viewers for the sound because I don't have my mic. And also, we'll dedicate this year to your mother's yard site, Chana Bas Yisrael. So we'll dedicate the Torah to her yard sites. Okay, so we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines from the bottom of the page of Kuf Gimel Amud Aleph 103a. Second word, the first word is B'yamav, second word is Va'amar. We're doing analysis of verses in Mishlei. So here's another Fabrengen from another inspirational teaching from Mishlei. As the Gemara, well, actually not from Mishlei, but a combination of a bunch of different places in Scripture. So Amar Rav Chisda, Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah. Rav Chisda said the name of Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba, who is the son of Abba. Okay, so Rav Chisda speaking in the name of Yirmiyah, son of Abba. Arba kitos, there are 4 classes of people, or 4 groups, 4 categories. Ein mekablos pnei shchina, who do not merit to receive the countenance of Hashem's presence. They don't get to. This is the following behaviors are a barrier for someone who's trying to interact with the divine. I'll translate what it says, but I'll tell you what I think it means. This is literally Ein mekablos pnei shchina. You don't receive the countenance of the Shechina. I think what it means is that I don't have a source for this, and welcome to this group. I think mekablos pnei shchina means to receive the countenance of Hashem means that when a person's doing a mitzvah, or a person's learning Torah, and what they're hoping to do is to interact with Hashem. That's the point here, right? The person wants to connect to Hashem, and Torah and mitzvahs are the medium through which you can connect to Hashem. So a person might be able to do these things in the technical level, but he won't get that feeling of divinity in it because of the following 4 things. The following 4 things will serve as a barrier to prevent him, but even if he's engaging in Torah mitzvahs, but he won't be able to receive, to experience the divine countenance that's embedded in there. That's what I think it means. I don't have any direct source for this, but I think that's what it means. And as you'll see, I think it stands to reason that's correct, that this is the correct reading. So here are the 4 categories. Kat leitzim, a group of scoffers, mockers. Kat shakranim, a group of liars. Kat chanifim, a group of flatterers. Yeah, I was going to say appeasers, but flatterers is a much better word. And kat mesapre lashon hara, a group of those who speak lashon hara, speak negatively about others. Now, what's interesting is that Rav Chisda doesn't say there are 4 types of people, but 4 groups. And why would you mean 4 groups? Why not 4 people? Just 4 people. So it could be means, the 10 people get together and there's the presence of the Shechina there, but they won't be able to experience it if they are a group of people doing X, Y, and doing these 4 things. That could be. Or it could also be that a person who, as an individual, every now and again slips and scoffs, becomes cynical, or, says something negative about somebody else because he's a human being and it happens. Okay, so it happens. When a person's in a group of such a thing, which means it's become habitual, his social life is surrounded around one of these 4 things, then there's a problem. That's what I think it means talking about a group. Meaning it's not just a question of once in a while he slips and
there's a group dynamic.
There's a group dynamic here where this is his way of living, this is his way of thinking, this is his social life, this is his surrounding. Where does he hang out? He hangs out with people who are cynical and laughing all day, or he's hanging out with people who all day just sit and chatter about other people, gossip, or sitting around, Not that he happens to have once had a gossip conversation. That happens to everybody, and if that were the case, no one would ever interact with the Shechina. Right? That's why it's a kat, it's a group. And kat, sorry?
All these averas involve speech?
All these involve speech.
And
yeah.
They also involve someone else.
Scoffing, I guess you're mocking others, yeah. you're lying about, okay, it's talking about something else, I assume. Well, it doesn't have to be somebody else.
But you're lying to someone else.
But it's in a group, yeah.
It's always in a group. See,
It's-
that's
it's
could have
certainly-
mentioned like a
but
Vodazor,
it's all speech, that's
could
true.
have mentioned a kashrut, it could have mentioned private citizens, these are all public
It's true.
citizens.
And also, yeah, these are
It involves
all,
speech.
they're all involving speech. That's a very interesting point. They all involve speech.
And flattery?
Flattery is speech.
Right, no, but
You're flattering someone else.
They're always sucking up to other people.
yeah, but that's what I mean, because flattery can also be sincere, you know.
Yeah.
That was an amazing shear.
No.
Right.
Flattering you, so I'm not saying it as it wasn't meant sarcastic.
That would be praise.
That'd be praise, yeah.
Chanifa is more than that. Chanifa is like exaggerated.
Flattery means that you're going beyond.
Chanifa, the Hebrew word chanifa is
Across the line.
It's when you flatter someone who's not worthy of it.
Okay.
Like, for example,
It's excessive, or-
someone has faults and you don't criticize his faults, on the contrary, you praise them for,
But again, also it's in kat. I mean,
You're
this
flattering
is,
because you want something in return.
Yeah.
or you're afraid of them.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
but also this is,
That's right. You want something, you want
something.
protection, or you
Yeah.
want...
False praise is no praise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's not praise, this is actually...
what you're saying actually, let me think something else. First of all, it's a group, right? We're getting back to this idea of a group. Not that a person
Definitely.
once flattered somebody else, but he's in a group. As in like this,
in a group, yeah.
this defines his social life. Now, what's interesting also is talking about speech. Another common denominator, which just dawned on me as you're saying this, is that all these four categories are people who have nothing of their own. Nothing of their own. In other words, someone who's lying doesn't have anything substantial. They're constantly making things up. Cynics are constantly putting everything down. They have nothing substantial of their own. Flattering other people means they're not defined by what they do and what they contribute, but they're trying to look for other people to like, hang their hats on. And then it's likewise with speaking slander. They have nothing substantial of their own to talk about, so they're talking about other people. So it's another thing. It's a group that lacks
Self-esteem.
self-esteem, lacks self-substance, lacks their own.
Yeah.
Also the word for group, which is kitos, kat, could sometimes even be used in the context of like a cult-like thing. Like a kat is like a clique, not just a group of people. It's a clique. Anyway. Okay, so let's see now the verses which back up these four ideas. And we can analyze each of these things. Anyway, so let's see. Start with the first one, which is kat leitzim, a group of scoffers, cynics. This is a group that doesn't merit to interact with the divine, doesn't read Makabel Pnei Shechina, to receive the countenance of the presence of Hashem. The Ksiv, as the verse reads, Mashach Yadai es loititzim. God removes his hand, as it were, withdraws. Mashach means like withdraws. He withdraws his hand from loititzim, from scoffers, from cynics. That's one verse. This comes from Hosea. Kat Shakranim, a group of liars, dishonest people. The Ksiv, as the verse reads, Doiver shkarim yikon leneged einai. Those who speak lies do not dwell in the presence of my eyes, in my presence. Quote from Tehillim. Kat Chanifim, a group of flatterers, excessive flatterers, people who are overly sucking up to other people all the time. Sorry?
Zealous with
Yeah, it means like they're constantly sucking up to other people, lacking their own substance. They're constantly, running after this guy who's got a little money, this guy's a little popular, and this guy's a little this, and he's all that. They're running after other people all the time. The Ksiv, as the verse reads, Koloi lofonov chanaf yavai. For before him, capital H, before God, the chanaf, the flatterer, shall not arrive. That comes from Iyuv. Kat mesaper lashon hara, and the fourth group, the group of those who speak gossip. The Ksiv, as the verse reads, Kiloi el chafetz resha, ata lo yugorcha ra. For God does not desire wickedness. You shall not, you shall not, you have not banished negativity. Meaning someone who hasn't banished evil speech, God doesn't desire that. Okay. Tzadik ata, you are righteous, or ought to be righteous. There should not be in your presence any negativity, negative speech, that is. End of this teaching. Yeah. It's telling you any Fabrengen that has this kind of chatter, not the proper type of Fabrengen. Fabrengen meaning gathering, getting together. All right. Again, this is the same person speaking of Chizda, the name of Yirmiyah, son of Abba. What's the meaning of the verse which reads? The verse is in Tehillim. No negativity shall befall upon you, and nega is like affliction, shall not beset you in your tent or in your dwelling. It's like a blessing for the Jewish people that no negativity should fall upon them. But it's double expression, like much of Tehillim is a double expression. Right? I think we talked about this before, how I think Koheles, I think for the most part, has like juxtaposed statements. Like the first half of the verse is the positive, and the second half of the verse is the negative of the same thing. Whereas Tehillim is very often double expression of the same thing. Asher Yishevesecha, Hashem Shekachaloi. Praise is Hashem Yishevesecha. Praise is the one who sit in your house. Praise is the one who praised are those who it is unto them like this. And then like that, much of Tehillim is double expression of the same thing. It's a poetic way of writing. So similar here, like no negativity shall befall upon you, no affliction shall beset your tent, your dwelling. Okay, even though it's poetic, but nonetheless, of course, it's all precise, and therefore, when there's a double expression, there has to be two different blessings being said here. And that's what Rav Chizda, in the name of Rabbi Abba, wants to teach us. Namely, no negativity shall befall you. That is, it's a blessing that the evil inclination shall not control you. And no affliction shall beset you in your tent. So now the first statement was in the singular. No catastrophe shall arrive at you in the singular. Okay, so it's something to you specific. Your Yetzer Hara, your evil inclination shall not control you. Then it says no affliction shall arrive in your tent. So it's something to do with your family. What's that? Your wife should not be in a state of doubt as to her purity with regard to your intimacy when you arrive home. What this means is, a person leaves town. Today you go away for a few days, you fly on a plane, it's not a big deal. But back in the day, leaving town meant 2, 3, 5 weeks, months at a time. And you come home, you'd much rather know, is your wife, she gone to mikveh and is she pure and therefore you can be intimate with her, or not? And if it's yes, fantastic. If it's not, okay, so you know to wait. But when it's in a doubt stage, it's tormentous. It torments the person. It's much more likely that his Yetzer Hara will get the best of him because it says, oh, it's not so bad. Maybe I could. When it's a no, it's a no. It's a hard no. It's easier. So it's another blessing here that the person shouldn't come home and he's in a state of doubt. We might expand this in Avodah, in one service of Hashem, to mean something like this. Of course, the Jew is compared to the wife, and Hashem is the husband, right? That's Shir Hashem. The whole Shir Hashem, the Song of Songs, is God's the husband and we are the wife. And actually, in Eicha, the Jew in Golus, the Jew in exile, is compared to a woman who cannot be with her husband. She's during that time. So she's not can't be with her husband. State of impurity, and therefore there's a separation. So, number one, okay, the Yetzer Hara shouldn't attack the Jew. Okay. Then maybe what this means is when Hashem is going to come to you, and the husband comes home, don't be in a state of doubt. Know where you stand. I am with Hashem. I'm not with Hashem. And that's a plague. That's almost in a sense worse than saying I'm not. Someone says I'm not ready. Okay, so he knows where he stands. But yes, maybe, no, could be, I am with Hashem, I'm not with Hashem, maybe I do want it, maybe I don't want it. Be very clear about where you stand. Maybe that's what this means. Kind of like Eliyahu Navi, the prophet tells the people, what's the Lashon? Why are you standing on the fence? Either you're for the Baal or you're for God. Don't stand, you're going both ways, this way, that way, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Don't be in the state of doubt. Know where you stand, know where you are.
And where the wind blows, that's where I am.
Yeah, this way it's going that way. Yeah,
I sway here.
Which is what the agnostics are.
So, and it's talking about it's just like in the literal sense. It's most torturous for the husband when he comes home and he's not sure what he can do. It's most torturous, so to speak, for Hashem when the Jew is uncertain. If the Jew is in a state of rebellion, okay, so the Jew's in a state of rebellion, we'll deal with it. But the Jew's in a state of doubt. It's almost the worst kind of infidelity. The Jew is not sure where he stands in his relationship with Hashem. Maybe. Okay, davar acher, another reading of the same verse. Lo yitunu alecha ra, no catastrophe shall befall upon you. That was the first half of the verse. Namely, no bad dreams or bad thoughts shall torture you, torment you. You should be tormented by anxious dreams and anxious thoughts. You should be free of that kind of anxiety. The negala ikar, right? This is the individual. The first half of the verse was individual to the person himself. No catastrophe shall fall upon you. So this is internal. You shouldn't suffer from your own anxieties. And then the second half of the verse was la ikar ba'alacha. Negala ikar ba'alacha. No affliction shall beset your tent. So it's expansive a little bit more. And therefore, shall yilacha ben. You shouldn't have a child, a Talmud, or a student. Shemagdiach tavshiloi berabim. Literally means he turns over his food in public. This is it's an expression used, not uncommon in the Gemara, which means something to the effect of that a person takes that which is good and uses it for the negative. So it's a student or a son who takes the knowledge that you've given them and the education you've given them and uses it for destructive purposes. And this, if you look in the little vav, there was 3 words here that were edited out because of the censors. Throughout the generations, when they reprinted the Talmud, after the printing press arrived, which was first used in... Sorry?
Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's correct. So the printing press was invented in Europe in Italy. And right, the Cincino family, the Cincino Gemara is one of the first Gemaras ever printed. In Germany?
The Gutenberg press, yeah. Was it Germany?
Germany.
But
the first Jewish printing was in Italy.
The Cincino, yeah.
The Cincinos.
Cincino, yeah.
Yes, but I'm just saying that because the Arabs didn't use the printing press as prolifically as their Christian counterparts. And I think because they were like into the calligraphy and the art of the books. Anyway, so when Jews started printing the Gemara, they had to, when you're doing it by hand, you do it by hand. But when you're printing it, it had to be approved by some, especially in Rome, in Italy, it had to be approved often by the Pope. The printings have to be approved by the Pope. So they instead of submitting it to the Pope and having the Pope edit it, and then maybe even cause a pogrom or something in your town because of what you wrote in there, the Jews would self-censor before they even submitted it to be printed. So they would take out any references that might be understood to mean something negative about Yashka, about JC. And this is one of those statements. So there's 3 words here, which reads, no, so the Jews knew for generations what was supposed to be there. And now already we don't care. We printed in the thing. Nobody's going to, we have freedom of expression, thank God. And it said here, Kagoin Yeshu HaNatzi. What's an example of a student who takes this knowledge and publicly uses it for negative effect is like JC of Nazareth. He's the example of a student who used information, studied Torah under, actually it's debatable as to when he lived and who was his teacher, but at any rate, he certainly knew lots of Torah, and he used it to promote his own version of Judaism, and rather than promote true Torah values. Okay, so we have next Gemara, we have more blessings that follow in these verses in Tehillim, which we'll get to, God willing, on Sunday, the various different levels. Monday. Various different levels of blessings that keep on going, right? Because these are blessings here. No negatives shall befall you, etc. And they're going to be levels and levels of blessing. Have a wonderful day, have a wonderful Shabbos, everybody.